This is Into the Pit. Recently added to Xbox Game Pass, this intense FPS roguelite has finally arrived. This retro shooter isn't really a shooter in the conventional sense, as you will use powerful magic to combat your enemies instead. Here's my review of the game and a bunch of footage from my first few hours. I can certainly say before we get into it, those will not be my last hours either. This game is relentless and addictive. As you can see, it's a marvellously colourful game, which given the industry's continued attachment to browns and greys for FPS games is greatly appreciated. It still seems a little ridiculous to me that we spend hundreds of pounds on great monitors and top of the range hardware just to see a slightly shinier metal corridor most of the time. It's not just the art style that's retro either. As you can see from this gameplay, it's fast paced and twitchy and really does feel similar to playing old school Doom or Unreal Tournament, both of which I loved back in the day. The enemies gib as well, which I thought was a nice nod to those early pioneering FPS games. The small arenas which you visit throughout your journey in the pit have pleasing layouts that encourage you to zip around attacking enemies, with jump pads adding extra elevation in certain areas. The enemies are fairly relentless and have a singular desire to mess you up. Your health bar is pretty puny to begin with, and if you're not careful, even a single tough enemy can wreck your run and see you returning to the village. The village is your hub world, which you can wander around freely and explore. The various residents all have their uses, and as the game progresses, you will unlock more of these by continuing deeper into the pit. As soon as you enter the pit, you will be met with hostilities, so it's nice to have this area to wander around in and spend some of your hard-earned currency. The core gameplay loop is that you must destroy keystones in each arena while collecting motes, which is your currency, which can be spent on various items and abilities. Not all enemies need to be destroyed, but given that you have to stay stationary for a few seconds when destroying a keystone, it is smart to eradicate all opposition before you attempt to destroy them. At the end of each of these chambers, you get a little stat rundown that tells you if you've collected all the motes in a particular area and if you've destroyed all of the enemies. And of course, that you've destroyed those all-important keystones. As soon as you destroy the final keystone in an area, you'll be transported back to the hub of the pit. Once you have returned to the hub, you can then pick a power-up that will enhance your next run. These can range for anything from powers for your left hand, to powers to your right hand, and even some protective spells. Given this game's old school roots, it makes sense that it's a tiny install size, but it's still surprising given the scope of this game. It's just under 3 GB, which given that my hard drives are currently chock full of massive AAA titles and capture footage, it's kind of a welcome relief. So even if you just want to check it out yourself to see if you enjoy it, it's really not a big hard drive commitment. I love roguelikes, having put in many hours on titles like Binding of Isaac, Enter the Gungeon and Neon Abyss. Returnal whet my appetite for this type of experience, and I'm hoping that if Into the Pit is just as successful as that particular PlayStation mega hit, then we'll be seeing more FPS roguelikes in the future. As ever with things on my channel, I must recommend this game. It is an awful lot of fun. As you know, I only talk about stuff on this channel that I enjoy, and I really did enjoy my time with this game, and I'm sure to be putting more hours into it. I'm going to leave you now with a little bit more footage from the game so you can get a better idea of how it plays without me talking all over it, and then after that we will be opening the next couple of doors in the Halloween countdown calendar. Now, as regular viewers of the channel will know, in the run-up to Halloween, I've been opening this fantastic countdown calendar, which is made by Funko. Now, we've got 2 doors to open today because I didn't do a video on Sunday, so let's get to it and see what's inside those 2 doors. So, let's see what's inside doors number 8 and door number 9. Let's see. I'm going to lift this higher and higher and just take my head off. Alright. Right, let's open both these doors now. Let's do this efficiently, shall we? Open door 8 and door 9. 9 there and 8 there. And then we'll open them in correct order. Now, where is my knife? It's not to hand. Okay, well, we'll just use our hands and see what's inside, shall we? It's kind of half the fun anyway, is getting into it, right? Or not. Half the fun is not getting into it. Let's use a pair of scissors. Luckily, those were to hand, and that's far more practical and far less scary than pulling a switchblade out. So, who have we got? Oh! It's a tiny little Beetlejuice. Now he's wearing the guide hat, which we know from the film. Michael Keaton, of course, one of his most well-remembered roles. It's crazy to think that he did this and Batman relatively close to each other, both, of course, Tim Burton movies. But yeah, fantastic. I love this little Beetlejuice. That is beautiful. I do have the large version of this particular pop as well, so I imagine that this will go down next to it. I do actually have a weird amount of Beetlejuice merch because I ended up pulling a bunch of Beetlejuice tags and stuff from a few blind boxes, so that's kind of cool. I have more Beetlejuice stuff than you would think, given that I'm not like a massive fan of Beetlejuice. I like it, but not as much as, say, Friday on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, or Nightmare on Elm Street. Right, let's see what's in the next one, shall we? Could be anything. Could be anybody. But who's it gonna be? Somebody with brown hair. Ooh. It's a tiny little possessed doll. We all know who this is, don't we? It's the one and only Annabelle from the Conjuring franchise. And she sat down on a little chair as well, which is a nice detail. I like that. See, I have a standing version of the Annabelle pop, and she's not sat on a chair. So that is lovely. She will sit next to that larger pop and look all pretty and spooky. I have so many possessed dolls now in this house. It's ridiculous. It's a good job I don't believe in that sort of thing, isn't it? Anyway, that was the next 2 pops. I'm going to be doing the rest of the countdown throughout this week. I have a busy week given that it's Halloween, so we might do a few more doubles like this one. Thank you so much for watching this video on Into the Pit, and if you stuck around for this little bit of unboxing as well, I really appreciate it. I appreciate you, and I appreciate you watching my videos. Oh hey, you found me at the end of the video. Thank you so much for sticking around. So this channel is still in its infancy at the moment, but please do like and subscribe for more content, and you should be able to see some other videos floating around me, and also some sort of subscribe orb as well. That should all be floating around my head, so have a click and check out some of the other content on the channel. Thanks again so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.